Well guys, after tearing it down to the block, multiple parts ordered, and taking it to the shop, the Mustang motor is finally ready to be put back together. If you guys haven't already, go down and hit that subscribe button, because up next we're going to be putting this motor into the Mustang and taking it to the dyno to see how much power it can make. And with all of that, I say it's time to go build a motor.
Alright, so we're back at it, and finally we're doing something that's been months, even years in the making. This weekend is day 1 of 3. 3 days to build this motor. We're gonna focus on the rotating assembly, trying to get the heads on. It's not gonna be 100% done, but close to like 80%. If you'll come over here, I just wanna show a little bit of the parts we got here. So starting off with the important stuff, we have DSS Forged Racing Pistons, blocks board 20 over, so Gen 2 Coyote rods from like a 2015 to 2017 Mustang, or the Boss 302 Mustangs from like 2012 to 2014. ARP Headstuds, ARP Mainstuds, ARP Side Bolts, stock jack screws. We have stock crank, pretty much nothing's been done to it other than micro polished. Modular head shop, stage 3 supercharger cams. We have a 4-valve billet oil pump. It's an upgrade over the stock 2-valve, and it's also a billet gear, so a lot stronger. It would be arguable if we need that, because I'm only looking to rev it to like 7,000. Stock head gasket, just a few other small things, but those are the main things. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention, we have ported heads that have been decked as well, upgraded valve train, so upgraded springs for the high lift cams, lightweight, and strengthened chromoly retainers as well. All right, so we're gonna start with our piston rings. Let me just show you what these guys look like. So these are our rings. And in here we have 3 sets. So we have our top rings, which are our thickest rings. Second rings, which are the dark rings. And then we have our oil rings. So we have 2 small rings and then our oil ring, which is sandwiched between those once we get everything together. We do have to gap these. We're gonna be going with the medium power adder application. We're gonna probably be around like 17 to 20 pounds of boost, which is gonna land us around our bore of 3.572 times 0.007, which I believe is 25 thousandths. So that's what we're aiming for. It's probably gonna be the most boring part of this build. All right, so to help me film this for this weekend, I got Alexa, my girlfriend, behind the camera, and her dad, Vinny, who's gonna be helping me build the engine. He's built a few Camaros and Porsches in his life, so he's got a lot of experience doing this stuff, so he's gonna help me this weekend. Hopefully, all this goes well, and we get good motor up and running soon.
Using marble mystery oil to clean the cylinders. It's a mystery because nobody knows what's in it.
We're at about, this is the 4th of the 8 top piston rings. Let's see if this one fits. We're right at like 25 right now. Kinda set it in there, push it flush, kind of take a look around, see if push it more in any direction than the other. That looks pretty good. All right. Time out. We'll be back when we get this to fit. We're probably gonna do like,
I'm calling it good.
You're calling it good? All right, maybe not. Hold on. That's pretty tight, don't you think?
It's tight. All right, 3 spins.
Three more spins, and then we're gonna measure again. See if we're spot on at 25 down. Just finished up the top rings. Now we're gonna move on to the second rings. That took quite a while, trying to get it pretty accurate, or as accurate as possible. We're gonna give it a shot here with the second rings. We kind of got a rhythm going, assembly line thing going, so that sped things up a little bit. So
this is where it's at. Forget about these small Japanese cars.
All right, so that is a wrap for night 1. Got all of the top rings done. Have them labeled here. We got one of the secondary rings done, but we're gonna call it quits for the night. Wake up early tomorrow morning, knock those out, and then get to some of the more interesting stuff. We're gonna get the crank in tomorrow, and hopefully we're gonna try and get as much done as possible, but finish the rings, assemble the pistons, set those to the side, get crank in. I already took the measurement for the cranks, so main journals and rod journals. We might throw a plastic gauge on one of them just to see where we're at. Yeah, tomorrow will be much more interesting, so see you then. All right, so it's day 2 here in the garage, and right now we're in the middle, bright and early, doing the second rings. We've got 3 done. We're just doing them to the spec of our bore, which is 3.572 times 0.0075, which ends up being about 26.5 thousandths, 26 3/4 thousandths. So like a loose 26 and like a tight 27 is kind of what we're aiming for. Once we get that done, then we're gonna check our oil ring rails. Just check that they're the minimum of 15 thou, and assemble the pistons, and then start working on the bottom end. We just got all the second rings gapped to desired spec. Now we're just checking the minimum oil ring rail gaps. Those are all good. We're taking a look at our expander rings here. And something interesting we noticed is that there is a little wire. I won't be able to probably show it on camera very well, but there's a little wire running through the middle of this. And it doesn't mention anything in the instructions about it. After looking on some forums and whatnot, it seems like this little wire, it's about 3 inches long, you can kind of see it there at the tip of my finger, is supposed to be installed with the ring. We're just gonna install it with it. Sadly, DSS is closed. I think it's pretty safe to say that we can install it like that. We are on to assembling the rods and pistons, and we're just going to start with lubing up the wrist pin. Now, we have already numbered and matched these rods and pistons, so the P just stands for piston and then the arrow. So this is going to be facing the other rod on the journal, on the crank. We already slapped one of the pins in there, so we're just going to get this started that far through, and these arrows are going to face the same way. Got to get this arrow facing to the left. I'm going to drop that down in there. Just take our wrist pin and work it through. Slides through nice and easily. So full floating rod. Then we're gonna take our little spiral lock pin here, which are kind of a pain in the butt, but then we're just gonna try and get it into the wrist pin retainer. Got my glove. Darn, do you have like a little pick that I can like? Yeah. All right, you can stop filming. This is. All right, take 2. Hopefully this doesn't get stuck. So as you can see, it rotates on there nice and smoothly, and we should be all set to go. So we did number 7 second. When these were balanced, they told us to keep these 3, the piston, pin, and rod together. So now on to rod number 2. So we finished assembling the pistons, and now we're getting ready. We're pulling the studs out. We're gonna clean all the surfaces, throw the studs back in, lube them up, throw the crankshaft in. I guess we'll take 1 measurement for plastic gauge, probably on like main number 3, and then just double. It's just a double check. All these things have been mic'd and gauged. I actually woke up in the middle of the night one night because I had a nightmare that I cracked the block. Because I've seen videos on Instagram of people. It happens more so with the head studs than these, but I was like, oh my god, I just cracked my block. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, thank god.
Oh no! Midnight!
We're just gonna clean the backside of these main bearings. Just trying to get every bit of stuff from the manufacturing plant off, all the grease and soot and whatever. These are our lowers. And I already measured all these and I kept them in the same spot. So this is for cap number 3. So we're gonna take cap number 3, set it down, match up the, tang with the tang. Just pop it down in, make sure it's flush, and then that should be good. We'll do the other 2 like that as well. For number 2, match up the tangs, slap that in number 2. Alright, so now we're on to our upper bearings. Just gonna go ahead, clean these off as best as we can. Alright, and this is for number 1. So we're gonna come over here, and this is our number 1 crank bore, or main bore. Slap it down in there, even it out. Boom. Number 4 here, I'm gonna drop number 4 in. Now, I already measured all these, but we're just gonna throw a plasti gauge on number 3 just to see where we're at, see, compare to how it was, what we measured. Got our digital torque wrench here. The torque spec for these are 20, 40, 65. We are going to start with 20 and work our way up. Okay.
A little update. Christian just ate a Wawa sub. He gave it an 8 out of 10. He gives sheets a 6 out of 10.
So now we're gonna torque it to 40. So we torqued them all to 20. Next is 40, then 65. We're gonna do 40, 65, and then we're gonna see what our end play is. And if we have to adjust it, then we're gonna loosen cap 5 and adjust accordingly. All right, yeah, these are all torqued.
All right, Alexa's still smooth. So don't you have to do 90 degrees or something?
No, that's on the rod bolts.
Okay. We're gonna send it all the way forward. Zero it out. Yeah, that's right on 0, right, Alexa?
Set the negative setting. Little update, we are trying to set our thrust bearing clearance. We're a little on the tight side right now. We're sitting around 3.5 to 4 thousandths, which is a little tighter than we're willing to run. So we're gonna go ahead and, well, we are sanding our bottom thrust cap, and we're gonna see if we can get a little more play out of that. If we can hit the 5 to 6 thousandths, I think we'd be willing to live with that. Yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. It's taking a little while, pretty monotonous, but we will update you when we get done. All right, so after a couple sanding and checking attempts, we have successfully set our thrust. So we set our crank to 0, and we push it back, and we're sitting at 6.5.
0,
0,
6.5.
6.5.
Done.
So thrust is all good, which means our crankshaft is in, everything's torqued to spec, and now we are ready to move on to installing rods and pistons. Got jack screws and our side bolts torqued down. How does it feel?
It was awesome.
Feels good spinning it. Sweet.
No stiff spots.
No tight spots.
Doing it by hand.
All right. So I guess now is rods and pistons, which we have all set aside over here. We just have to get the ring gaps in the right orientation, put the bearings in, and drop them through. We have gotten to installing the pistons now. We have 4 in the block already, and we just have the pistons 3, 4, 7, and 8 left to do. So we're taking our bolts out. We located the rings based on our ring end gap positioning diagram here. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Inside of here, clean the inside of our end cap, and we're gonna take our number 3 upper, spray a little more brake clean on here. Go ahead and locate the tangs. Drop it in. Should snap into place.
Lots of love.
So we have our piston.
Tapered ring compressor is the actual name. Lock it in. Okay, she's ready to fall now.
Okay.
So she's ready to go. Okay, she's through. She's a little crooked. Let me straighten her out. There we go.
Now we're gonna flip the engine around. We're gonna grab some assembly lube.
Really get it so it goes down the crank. And I'm gonna push it up to you.
We're gonna take our lower. As you can see, it's designated with the L. Some brake clean on the back there. Go here into our end cap. So now we take this and we're gonna line up our castings, our markings on the piston and the end cap. And close it up. We'll take our rod bolts. And now we'll flip it over and rotate it just to see it rotate smoothly. Look at that. Right, so we're gonna start off torquing to 15, then 28, and then 105 degrees. Torquing the last rod bolt. So satisfying. Should be done with the rotating assembly so far. We'll spin it over, make sure everything moves smoothly, no binding, no locking up, and then on to the head studs. So we got the ARP hardware installed, and this was a little interesting. So we pretty much followed the instructions. There's a few things to keep important, like placing the washers on a dry, clean spot face. But there's some interesting parts, like whether or not to install the lubricant onto the threads that go into the block. Basically what we did was we opted to install them dry, and as well we screwed them in, bottomed out, and then counter rotated a quarter turn. So that hopefully gets us, you know, the thread engagement we need, but also we're not gonna push the bottom of the stud into the block anymore when we go to actually torque these down. You know, it seems like kind of a debate online, but that's how we're opting to do it, and we'll see what happens. We have our Ford Performance, aka OEM head gasket. It's a multi-layered steel head gasket. We just cleaned the head surface. We're gonna go ahead and do a final inspection. Make sure that there's no weird substance on our decked block. So now let's put the head gaskets on. Yes.
All the holes have a hole fitting over the dowel pins.
All right, time to send these pistons to their home.
So what's it hanging? There we go. I guess that's
Now we
down.
just gotta get it on the down.
Ooh, don't let it spin. I don't want it to fall off. That is pretty. Oh, that went on like nothing.
Boom! Look at that. We install the washers with the ridged side down.
Nothing on it.
Nothing on.
That's the grip side. That goes down. That gets lube.
Okay, we're gonna take the lube and apply it to the threads. No mess ups. So we got the heads on. Now we're gonna go through and torque following this sequence to 25 foot-pounds. All right, 50 foot-pounds. Here we go. All right, so we got these 10 torqued down to 50 foot-pounds, and now we're tightening to our final torque of 70 foot-pounds. The head is on and should be all good. I'll move on to the other side. I won't film that because it's the exact same thing, but what's going on, guys?
Wait, you're really too bad.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, CC with the sauce. We're gonna wrap up day 2 of day 3 Mustang 2-valve build. We have a lot to go and a lot to come tomorrow. We're gonna be up bright and early. We have the heads on. My young apprentice, if you'd like to follow me. We have our cams we're gonna install tomorrow. We have billet aluminum timing chain guides, our oil pan, oil pump, and cam girdles, rear main seal plate and all that. So dipstick. Yeah, that'll be it for day 2, and we'll see you in the morning. All right, so it's day 3 of the 3-day engine build. Starting off the morning with our Boundary 4-valve high output oil pump. So we're gonna start with that, then the pickup tube, and go from there. All right, so we just set our oil pan pickup tube clearance. As you can see, we have some putty on the top of our oil pan pickup tube. We ended up having to add about it was 3 washers to get it where we wanted. We started off at about 1/2 inch. The spec says 0.3125 to 0.375. So right now we're sitting at about 0.345, 0.35. So right in the middle. Yeah, so we got our new oil pan gasket and oil pan sat up on here, tightened everything down, checked it, yes, set that. And now we're gonna throw on our rear main seal and main plate, and then throw on the oil pan, and then that should be done, and we can move on to the timing chain guides and or cams. So.
Okay.
Now we're gonna fill our pump cavity with some assembly lube. No dry starts for this pump.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so we're taking out the rear main seal. We're gonna throw in the new rear main seal, kind of clean up this plate. We got our low cart dipstick tube in. And now we're moving on to the rear main seal. We did have to go out and get a different rear main seal. We got a Velcro rear main seal that uses like a PTF seal with like no inner spring. It's super stiff, but it just wouldn't go in right no matter how we tapped it in. So we ended up going to just AutoZone and getting more OEM style Velcro rubber rear main seal here. As you can see, still has that inner retention spring. You can kind of see the spring in there. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this rear main seal set. We cleaned up our mating surface here. We're just gonna throw a light layer of RTV around perimeter here and here. And we used oil to lubricate the inner part of our seal. Get those dowels lined up.
You're too low. Get on the seal first. Just try not to push it all the way in. That looks good.
Yeah.
And make sure that spring's in place on the back end.
Alright guys, so rear main seal is installed. Got all the bolts torqued to 8 foot-pounds. Gasket maker thin layer came out very nice. That's probably the last thing we're gonna do this weekend. Or throw the oil pan on just for, you know, travel purposes. But yeah, it came out super awesome. Super happy with it. Alright guys, so we are back at it and we got some interesting news. So take a look at this. This is a block from a 2000 Lincoln Town Car, not a Mustang. Now this was a non-PI motor at first. Now with the PI heads, you know, I guess you could call it a PI motor. But there's very few differences between a Lincoln Town Car motor and a Mustang Romeo iron block. But one of those is this right here. That, and this bolt right there. Those are like the 3 differences I've found so far. I did not know this. So these are roll pins. What a Mustang has is a bolt. And with these billet aluminum MMR timing chain guides, bolts up fine up there, but down here, it's lined up perfectly. It's just slightly too big. So yeah, that's no bueno. So I'm gonna try and pull this out. Talk to my machine shop. Probably gonna have to send it there. Should be a quick turnaround, like a day. This one can go and doesn't need plugged or anything because the Mustang timing chain guides have a long bolt here that goes through the timing chain guide and still bolts onto this location through the oil pump. Now, annoyingly, I don't have that bolt obviously because the timing chain guide originally for this car ran off of this roll pin and 2 bolts up here, I'm pretty sure. But nevertheless, we're gonna figure that out. So let's get to it. All right, boys. Well, this is super stupid, but we have our M6 by 1.0 bolts here, and we're gonna need a longer bolt. As you will see, even if it were longer, that's no good. So we're gonna have to take it to the machine shop, get like a time cert or helical coil put in. Super annoying, but I mean, what are you gonna do? So you guys will see me next whenever I pick this thing up.
The next day.
All right, so we sent the block and the timing chain guide out to the machine shop. Just had them tap it to an M8, some thread size, I forget. But yeah, so we have that. And now we have to replace the hardware for the rest of it, so. All right, so we got new grade 10 bolts from the auto parts store. Yeah, these bolts right here. This bolt is from the machine shop, and then this is your extended bolt from your oil pump. Timing chain guides are now set in place, and basically now we're gonna take the caps off. We're gonna throw the tensioners in, then we're gonna go back to the valve train. We have our flash adjusters, followers, and we'll be hopefully dropping the cams in today. So let's get to it. All right, so we have the followers and lash adjusters in, and we are going to get ready to throw these cams in. So, all right, so here are our cams. These are our cams. They are modular head shop stage 3 blower cams. Here are the specs. So it's a 238, 244. With the LSA at 15. Should not allow boost to bleed past our valves. We have our keyway at 9, so we should avoid any piston to valve contact.
Always remember to push down as hard as you can, too.
Yeah, when in doubt, just push down as hard as you can.
Exactly, just force it in.
What the fuck? Where would these be? I definitely have them here somewhere. These are from the non-PI motors. I don't know why I can't find the bag from these heads, because I would have kept them. I don't know where they would have been with everything else. But in reality, these are the same bolts. It's just from a different head, but I mean, they thread in fine. They're the same as the PI ones. It's very interesting to me that I would have not kept the PI ones. So, we got one of the cams in. Right now it's sitting at like 1 or 2 o'clock. But yeah, got it bolted down. Now we'll move on to the passenger side. Wasn't too bad. Kind of came down a little, actually very easily. Yeah, on to the passenger side. Guys, so that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. Tonight we got the timing chains installed. I threw on the trick flow adjustable cam gear. We got the cams bolted down, torqued to spec. Got our AC delete kit bracket installed. Our oil coolant adapter, oil filter adapter installed. So tomorrow we're doing timing, and really there's not much else to do for the motor. I mean, right now it just looks so good. I'm not gonna say how it's gonna run or whatnot, just because this is the first motor I've built, but it sure does look good, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, we will have the timing done tomorrow, so let's hope everything goes well. Called Modular Head Shop. They told me to just set the driver's side cam at 12 and 2, and the passenger side is roughly like 10 to 12. We have our U on our adjustable crank gear set along the keyway, and we have our 2 marks here that we're gonna set up with our timing chain. So I'll hit you up tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day from the clip you saw last. And this morning I did the timing on the motor. But yeah, so let me kind of run us through. So I had these cams from Modular Head Shop. I already explained that. They already did all the intake center line, and I got the adjustable crank here. Basically, they mark a U on your keyway. You throw the U around the keyway, and you have your two teeth that are marked for your cam gears. Pretty simple. Just took a socket here. Just had to adjust the cam a little bit to get the teeth to line up, the marks to line up, through the pivot guides back on, and then basically threw the tensioners in. And it was super easy. Now we'll just go ahead and torque some of this stuff down to 15 to 20 foot-pounds. We'll just do 20. All right, we'll start with the timing chain cover, throw on our trigger wheel, then our harmonic balancer, and on valve covers, just do a bunch of gaskets, water pump, bolts on the supercharger just to see how it fits. And then that should be it for the engine build. It should be done now. It should be ready to drop in after that. So, all right, so we're back. We're gonna pull the pins and just kind of spin it a little bit, make sure it feels good. All right, here we go. Hey, pin number 2.
And the pins are pulled. Let's go.
Now these don't have oil pressure, so it's not pushing all the way up on them, but not hearing anything funky, so everything feels nice and smooth. I think we should be okay to go ahead and install our trigger wheel and then our front main seal, kind of get everything set up. So, all right, let's do it. All right, so this is our stamped steel trigger wheel. Basically, you have the spacer between the adjustable cam gear that they provide with you. It goes there. Steel trigger wheel goes here. It says front there, just so you know. And we should be ready to install our front main seal. We'll throw some RTV down in the corners, a little bit, maybe right here and right here and right here and right here, just a dab. All right, let's get to it. Yeah, you don't want to put too much.
Here we go. Timing cover is back on. I feel like it's been absolutely forever since we have seen this engine kind of in one piece. It's been since what, like July or something. Looks like bolt number 1 is going in the timing cover. All right, we will get back to you very shortly. Well, we ran into a little hiccup. As you guys can see, you can kind of see that little white speck right there. That's paint or the anodizing or whatever powder coating has been chipped off. And you can see kind of chipped off a little piece of the timing chain cover. So now we're going to get the angle grinder or Dremel. Okay, we're gonna get the Dremel out and Dremel away just a little bit of the timing cover because the clearance issue is pretty minuscule, but it's enough that we can't get the cover on. So we're gonna try to take care of that. And then hopefully we'll be able to get this timing cover on.
So it's a few hours later, and you already saw us having to Dremel out the inside of the timing cover to fit our MMR timing chain guides. Now, the other thing I forgot to do was that we have to grind the outside of the timing cover or the Innovators West harmonic balancer. So basically what we have to grind down is this little nub here and just the fronts of our TDC and BTDC markings. So shouldn't be too bad, but yeah. I don't know exactly how thick this is. It says it has to be within 70 thousandths. Excess from the timing cover or less, grind it down. They provide some pictures, so we'll grind it down to that and see how it goes. So you'll see that now. Starting to sprinkle.
Is it actually?
It is.
Damn, looking good though.
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, we are back with the motor and we are putting gasket maker on. We're gonna try this again because, yeah.
The curse of the Lincoln motor strikes again.
For real.
It not being a Mustang motor has killed me with these timing components, but it's all good. Another dab of RTV, kind of cleaned off the last bit of RTV off of your Oh, yeah. This puppy probably will leak.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not the best RTVer.
Hey, professional RTV job right there. Teach me how to do that someday.
Very, I can teach you.
I'll bet.
Very thin beater on the bottom.
One shop towel as requested.
Thank you. All right, let's try this again. Take 2.
Oh,
nice.
Look at that.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, the gap is definitely a lot smaller than it was before. Let's go. Time to put the bolts in, eh?
Yeah. So we got the timing cover on. Looks nice. Looks pretty sweet if I do say so myself. Hopefully it doesn't leak. Now we're going to torque the bolts. These short bolts, we are torquing to 22 foot-pounds. And then the extendo bolts, we are torquing to 41 pounds. I don't really know why there's a difference, but I mean, we're just going to follow the book. We're just going to follow the book. We're not going to ask any questions. So the first bolt to torque is this one right here. Why don't we torque it to 22 foot-pounds? All right, so we just torqued them down. By the way, guys, I haven't mentioned this yet. If you're building a 4.6 or a 5.4, 2-valve, 3-valve, or 4-valve, get this book. Get this book. You may not think you need it. You need it. This book is freaking awesome. It has all the torque specs. It has all of the bolt torque sequence pattern, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we just finished torquing all these down. I'm gonna mark them, and then we're gonna move on to water pump, valve covers, harmonic balancer. Actually, we'll probably do harmonic balancer first, and then bolt the supercharger on. Just see how it looks, you know.
Almost there.
Almost there. We're
Almost
getting
there.
We're getting there.
Also, I gotta mention really quick, if you guys are still sticking around for this crazy 2-valve Mustang motor build, please go down and hit that like and subscribe button, because next up we will be taking this motor, dropping it in this Mustang right here, and then after that taking it to the dyno to see how much juicy power she makes, or it blows up. True. Maybe stay tuned for that. Stay tuned, because it's gonna blow up. That's gonna be even more fun and exciting.
If you hate 2 valves, tune in. You're gonna want to see it.
True.
You'll
If you
either be extremely disappointed or extremely happy.
I think it's gonna blow up. So go like and subscribe. I heard it's the lube done.
It is. Ooh, this is the
That's
most
some nasty looking
very
lube, I'm not
nasty
gonna lie.
looking lube. Not gonna lie, it looks horrible. But lube is lube.
True, you know a lot about that, right?
No, I do not know anything. Dude, this shit is like fucking gross. What is this made of? Oh my god, it literally has something for you to cut here, and I just,
Oh, dude.
I'm stupid.
Oh, dude.
That's like
Hey.
the most me thing ever.
Big brain.
Yeah, now I'm just gonna just put it on my finger. Ugh.
Dude, that's nasty.
Oh yeah.
Hey, yo. That's a massive chunk. That's like a loogie of lube.
Ugh.
Lube loogie.
But you know what? It's gonna go in so easy now.
All right.
I mean,
Lubing up a micro rod.
all right. So let's get it like mounted on there, situated first.
Oh, it's going on really easy, dude. All that lube paid off.
Yeah. Press okay with a proper install tool.
Okay, it might look kind of janky, but this is what we had to resort to. This used to be, idler pulley on a Civic, and we had to punch out the bearing so that the harmonic balancer installer could fit through it, because he's got one of them fancy harmonic balancers, and the AutoZone kit doesn't quite accommodate for the fancy shit. So now we gotta do weird jank shit, but hopefully it works.
So we don't have the right tool. We don't have an adjustable wrench that can open up this big. Yeah, we're gonna have to finish installing this another day.
You know what? It's on there.
It's on there enough. We got it on there a little bit, so it's on there enough
That it won't fall off.
Oh, it definitely won't fall off. We'll move on to water pump next. So let's get it. Look at that.
Just like that.
New water pump. Boom.
Brand new water pump.
Brand new water pump. Next, valve covers.
Valve covers. That shouldn't be too bad. You sure you don't want to leave it like this? I think it looks pretty nice.
It would be kind of fire.
I think it would be pretty fire. You should go to Walmart and get like a clear plastic tub and then bolt it to the top so that you can see your valve train hard at work.
You always have the best ideas.
Of course I do. Of course I do. The motor is finally all put together. We put the supercharger on just to see what it would look like, and I think it looks super sick.
Yeah, so this is it. I mean, it's not 100% wrapped up just yet, but for the most part, everything's together. It looks pretty wicked, I'm not gonna lie. The Procharger might be just as big as the engine, so we're not done yet, but as far as the motor build goes, we're pretty much done. We're pretty much there. So I will give Kyle a Excel sheet that I have, put it down in the description of the full build, just so in case anyone has any questions. Also, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Kyle. Yeah, got the D1SC Procharger here mounted up to the Billet 4.6. It's been a very long day. We've been here for like a while. Everything went together pretty well. Hopefully it'll be worth it in the end.
The OGs know we've been working on this for so long. Pulled the motor out probably like mid-July, something like that. Maybe even earlier. It might have been like early mid-July. But yeah, this thing has gone through quite a lot of transformations recently. And finally, in its final stage, now all we gotta do is put in the Mustang behind me and then hopefully get the whole car out onto the dyno to see how much power she makes.
You'll see soon. I'll be installing the flywheel, clutch, and we'll be bolting up the T56 to this. Drop it in the engine, and yeah.
Well, that is going to end this incredibly long but insane video of us building the motor here. More Christian building the motor, honestly. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, if you guys want to see this thing start up, be sure to go down and hit that like and subscribe button. It really means a lot. And yeah, I guess with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.